Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our panel for the evening tonight. Before we get going, I'd like to say thank you to Six Nation 31 Kings for being first in the chat. We'll have others piling through as time goes on. My name is Bruce, and I'm up here in the upper left corner, dressed up as Joe from Biggest Geekus. And then next to me, we have the Crafting Gamer, who's getting ready for his portion of the night. Down below me is my friend Kai, ever loving. He has an amazing mane and some great facial hair there. And then we always have Jade from the Tabletop Tavern, one of our locals in the 309. Gentlemen, how are you tonight?
I woke up. I'm okay.
Woo!
I'm looking forward to this evening.
Awesome. You brought up a really cool topic that I don't think we've talked about yet, not even once. And many times we've ran a game. And this is something that I've ran a lot of in times that I've ran, for the past 30 plus years of gaming. All right, let's not get disappointed. We're going to talk about festivals and circuses tonight. And this is a suggestion by our own panelist, Mr. Crafting Gamer. And I think it's a really cool topic. Crafting, do you want to open up with an intro for it, or do you just want to?
Let's see here. The sounds, the lights, the excitement, the disappointment, the horror, everything you could possibly think of in a celebration such as the circus, a festival, or even, I forgot what I was going to say on that one. But anyway, what can you do with such an open field that so many people automatically think will bring them joy when you know you're planning for it to be so much worse?
Okay. Crafting, how long have you been in the RP games?
Technically, between when I first started and now, I'm 31, so almost 20 years, about, I'd say 18 years. But I stopped playing for about 6 to 7 of those years because I didn't have a group to play with.
The reason why I asked that is that there's a lot of modules and campaigns that are published by people much smarter than myself, and they have a start at a festival. In fact, one of our own panelists, who is not with us tonight, Mr. Connell, has ran numerous games for us. I think all of the samples he's ever done for us always operate around a wintertime festival for the easy access for him to use Winterfell. Now, the reason why I think he does that is that he likes the stories of Krampus, which some of you guys are groaning on the inside right now. I'm there with you groaning in unison because every time we run with something from Connell that's Christmas themed, it's always Krampus. But he's consistent, and he really does like those Eastern European folk tales, and they can be a lot of fun. There's other games. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying agreed.
There's other games that there's other adventures, there's other sessions, but I think the one that really hits off for the most is anybody that's like Gen X or Gen Y, really more Gen Y, Gen Z, I guess. They started off the first adventure path for Pathfinder with the Sparrowtail Festival, or the Swallowtail, the little bird festivals. Do you guys remember that, or have you forgotten? I apologize.
I don't think I remember that one.
Palladium.
That would require me to actually buy a Adventure Path book.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll talk from experience on this.
Please do.
The experience that I have is fairly basic. You are individuals that you are pretty much told by the DM that you've recently completed your first level training, and you're to walk around and discuss things and interact with people and see some of your family or maybe your cousins. And then after a few hours, the mayor gathers you together and he claps his hands together and like, we're going to have the festival, blah, blah, blah. And at that point, the kobolds attack. But there's supposed to be an element of RP that was poorly implemented in the text where you are empowered to go and participate in the games of strength or some dexterity contest or something like that. And I think that's something that a lot of GMs, when they run a carnival, they don't do that. The carnival is merely the 5 minutes of the scrolling text prelude to episode 4, and all of a sudden now we've got a fucking a Corvette versus a ISD, and that's the start of our campaign. But there could be so much more to the start of your game than just the read aloud text. And I think that I failed whenever I ran it, the 2 times I've ran that episode, and I did not run with the games in mind or with people trying to get back in touch, because the people had just created characters because they want to kill goblins. They want to do something cool. They want to be heroes. And the last thing that a lot of these guys were thinking of, because they were playing this game, they hadn't gone away to a camp or basic training and done this rite of passage. So they have no mindset in their head of what all had gone on, how their bodies improved and how their minds developed and how they rose and overcame. And that's something, I guess, that would work really well in a situation like episode 1 of the Adventure Path for Pathfinder, the Rise of the Rune Lords. And I think that would work out really good now that I think about it. But it took me 4 minutes of talking out of my ass here, discussing this, just saying, like, as I'm saying it, I can see it putting itself together in my head 2 seconds ahead of time, so it can be useful. It can be just kind of like you can see things as your mind throws some words out there, like all of a sudden the word salad unscrambles and it perfectly lays out paragraphs, so you can at least go around the table and be like, Bob, what are you doing?
Well, I guess, what do we have here?
Bob, it's a festival. Have you ever been to a festival downtown? Have you ever been to the fall festival in Mount Pulaski? There's games, girls dress up, parents come out, grandparents come out. There's smells of bakeries. It's not too cold. It's kind of fun. If you want to reconnect with the first girl you had sex with and you nutted early on, go make your charisma check and see if you can get a redemption lay. And you could possibly do that because you just got back from boot camp and everybody else has been here in town for the past 2 months or 3 months. And you've went off and came back thinner or more masculine. You got a jawline now. You're not quite Matt Rife. You're almost there. And you can throw that at your players and let them think about that in their head for a second and go to the next one. Tammy, it's the fall festival. What are you doing? Tammy, you're a barbarian, right? Yes. Okay. And Tammy, in real life, she's a gimp. She's in a wheelchair. Tammy, you're a barbarian. They've got a couple games here, which already people are sizing you up. Why don't you go over there and do your thing? And you kind of encourage them to at least get in the water for a little bit. So when you're running these, even if it's just nothing more than the 5 minutes before the action text starts up and, oh, we have to kill goblins, at least let the players feel like there's a connection between them and the ground their characters are treading on. Give them something that's tangible. You're in front of them. I'm just talking to you. And I have my panel here, and I'm sure while I've been talking, their heads are going, at 90 miles an hour. But that's just my main critique of myself, because when I was running both versions of that game, the first time I ran it was for the part-timers in 2008, and they enjoyed it. But the second time I ran that, it was for a girlfriend and her sons. And I was able to give a little bit better backstory to the characters because there wasn't 8 players at the table, there's only 3. Now, with doing that, it made it very possible for me to make the game very personalized and very fun. And that game lasted for about all of 6 weeks, which is my usual boyfriend-girlfriend relationships I had before 2022. Now that I've ended on a downer, does anybody want to pick up the ball?
Well, the other Paizo or Pathfinder adventure path that starts off with a festival is the Wrath of the Righteous adventure path. And it actually starts the players off with the knowledge that, for the last several weeks leading up to the festival, the town's been getting ready. And, the players will know this. And truly, like, this was a mechanic given to the game master. This is my opinion of it. That this was a game mechanic given to the player or to the game master, so that players wouldn't have like 10-foot ladders or 12-foot poles for pole vaulting with them. They wouldn't have their like full equipment that would be odd or out of place carrying around in a city. And I actually had to state that for several players at my table. Hey, this is a festival. If you're walking around with a 10-foot ladder, the guards are going to stop you because they think you're probably a second story man. Leave that shit at home. But they didn't really actually get to interact in that festival because the way that game starts, or at least the way the module starts, is that as soon as the festival opens and I can't remember what the guy's name was, one of the NPCs is giving a speech for the opening ceremonies, the demons attack. The sky rips open and all hell breaks loose, and the PCs fall into the caverns below. At least that's how that one starts. But I have run other games that have had festivals in them. Not so much circus, but definitely festivals. And most of them are very joyous occasions at the very start. And that's how I like to start them, is very joyous, very, get you into the mood of what's going on in your town. This is the town you grew up in, or this is the town that's nearby, and all the people there know you. They, and you've had a lot of really fond memories here. Now it's time for me to ruin that irrevocably. And add, not just add insult to the injury, but rub salt into the injury of, watching people die, during the festival because, a raid happens or some kind of monster attack happens. Or, there's been a murder at the festival, and now everyone's freaking out about a serial killer. Who's going to stop them? I use the festival setting to ease people's tensions at the very beginning, but then I start ramping things up very quickly thereafter.
I think that's pretty important because you can do that fairly effectively too. I've seen you orchestrate your events, and that's kind of a good thing to note. Like whenever you're getting from running the festival to here's the meat of the adventure, you want to have a transition to where the players kind of get their focus. And if Connell were here, I'd dog him a little bit because a certain player did nothing for an adventure but stayed in his own home and had sex with his girl he was crushed on.
I have no idea who that person is.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to get rid of the adventure, but you give me fucking leave. You give me leave. I've been on war for a year. I'm home for a month. The first week I'm sleeping. Good luck on disturbing that. Have fun.
Right.
So that'll probably be something that sticks with him for a while because he won't want to have that same mistake happen again.
Mind you, we didn't make it easy on him at all.
No, we didn't.
We went out of our way to be dicks. You know that.
Oh my god!
I don't know what you're talking about.
A party of
I know.
Don Rickles.
Look, Bruce and I existed for only one purpose. That was to derail that thing at every turn.
At least you admit it.
Yes.
We were in character. Our characters were dicks, but
I
we
managed
didn't know
to
the
do
plot.
this
We were in
the whole
character. I'm sorry.
Come for the pies and sweets, stay for the elder chore. A la Something Wicked This Way Comes, or The Seven Faces of Dr. Lau.
Yeah, kind of.
The core of the part is actually kind of the fun part. I know that we always seem to start with the idea of we're treating it as a big fair or festival, but the thing is that the circuses are just great for wandering bands of, well, let's be honest, exotic weirdness and freak shows. And that's inviting thieves and bandits and debauchery into your town whenever it rolls in. And since most of the time this is before telephones or internet, suddenly the circus rolls into town. Where'd it come from? Where'd it go? Who are these people? But they're setting up on the outskirts of town, and weird shit starts to happen. That's kind of what circuses are, and it's always fun and the thing is that you're going in there. It's dark. It's packed. Are you really paying attention to everyone around you? Of course you're not. And that's when you start doing fun, creepy shit to them, or having weird, creepy shit happen to them. Because after all, it's all part of the show. Because the ringmaster or the head of the clowns is making sure that everyone's attention's on them. And you know what? If something happens, if the magician does something terrible to, come, we're inviting somebody from the crowd down into the show. And something terrible happens to him before everyone else. Well, it's just part of the entertainment. You're not really realizing that they're just murdering people, or you don't know. Bad things can happen. Then again, the last time I ran a circus was in a more, we weren't playing D&D. It was one of the more psychological thriller based games. So.
Remind me not to eat the carnival food at any of Kai's carnivals.
You shouldn't.
Or Connell's.
You shouldn't.
Connell's
Okay,
is the worst.
first off, you shouldn't be eating the carnival food in the real carnival.
Hey.
No deep fried Twinkie.
My wife will not let me have a deep fried Twinkie at home.
I too look for the 1 foot long corn dogs as well, and the elephant ears. But I pay for it afterwards because my body goes, "What the fuck did you just eat?" Help me, I'm dying.
For it afterwards, I pay for it immediately. Like I instantly know I've screwed up.
It was at this moment Jade knew he fucked up.
He done fucked up.
Yep.
Where's Jade going? He's making a beeline. He's hit the fire feet option of the sorceress of Diablo 2. He's headed to the Skiddo can. Do not impede.
Yup.
I have that problem too.
It doesn't go that badly. It just, oh man, I am a wreck for hours and hours afterward. Like the moment I eat that really crap food. Granted, it tastes amazing, but as soon as it hits the stomach, my stomach starts to revolt immediately, and I'm like, well, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, I remember when I was young and I could get anything I wanted.
Yeah, we ate that.
Yeah, we're all like that.
Those days are gone. Maybe not for you. For me, they are. Man. So I guess Kai, I want to know your thoughts on festivals or circuses, because I have a lot more festival stuff to run at the players than I do circus time. There's a couple circuses I've ran on players for game before, but I've ran all manner of festivals, probably 15 hours of festivals at my table over 30 years.
Now, see, so what do you want to know more about?
Well, if we get kind of like an organic conversation about it, that'd be preferred. But
no, I mean, give me a slight direction on this one, because I understand the idea of festivals. Because after all, we live in the middle of we live here in Central Illinois, where we have a festival for damn near everything. Pumpkin, tulip.
You have a festival for pumpkin chunkin',
right? Turkey festival. We've got garbage festivals for everything.
We have a apple and pork festival in Kinney, Illinois.
Right. So, and you know what? Or it's the Founders Day or Pioneer Day. You have a little itty bitty festival where it's a bunch of little itty bitty vendors, like four and a half rides that are working, and some little shops, which is like, yay, get to have some fun. Hit a hammer, win a stuffed animal. Like, there is the county fair, like the little village fairs are like, yay, cool, I get a turkey leg, yum yum. And like all those really do are invite, like those are just setups for and then the Fire Nation attacked. Or you're all there looking at chintzy jewelry and eating bad food, and then the bad thing happened. And the thing is, those are predictable. They're almost holidays for these little itty bitty towns. And before cars, these were your holidays. Like, wow, I could do something fun and go see everybody that I see every freaking day. But now we're in a happier environment that isn't church. Yay! I mean, you really can't make that interesting unless you have the newfound cult who's in there going, we are teaching our culty ways, and then you're like, oh no, the cult. And most people are like, hey, it's a new cult. I like this. And, it's like, so there's a few things that you can do with the time, but the circus is so much more fun because, well, now you got a whole bunch, like, if you're playing World of Darkness, oh, hey, look, the Ravnos have arrived. If you're not playing World of Darkness, oh, hey, look, the Gypsies have arrived. I mean, sorry, the Ravnos who aren't bloodsuckers have arrived. If it's the circus, it's like, hey, look, the murder hobos who are just holding down a job have arrived. Because it's literally the weirdest freak show. And the thing is, the freak show finally gives you a chance to go, and behold, the orc who can look like a human. And, it's like, we do that in the real world. It's like, during the old Barnum and Bailey days, it's like, hey, look. It's like P.T. Barnum time, but now imagine what you're gonna do with a more fanciful medieval circus, and now you can go, hey, look, the traveling waxwork exhibit where we go, and look at this lifelike statue of what Vecna looked like, and you're like, ooh, five copper, please, and
one of my personal favorites, the Mirrors of Evil Duplication.
Right, but you don't look unless you plan on murdering the town. But if you've got a mirror of duplication, you hide that somewhere in an offhand corner of the funhouse, not in the main corridor, but somewhere where you know that the young couple wanting to get out of everyone's eye goes out there, and then you just you murder them and then replace them with the copy. You can't do it to everybody because that gets obvious, and you just want to take and then leave. You don't want to just take and be run out of town, or unless your entire plan is, well, we are a bunch of evil murder hobos, and this is a horror movie, and I plan on killing the entire village. And hey, that might be your plot line to go snag your players in. Like, everybody who goes into the fun house comes out with a goatee. This isn't right.
See, I was actually more thinking of, all of a sudden you see people who look like from sound that are in the circus, You can't explain why. And then in the long term, you find out that this ringleader, he hasn't been capturing and killing people. He's been making duplicates, immediately putting the duplicates under his control so he can slowly build an army to take over the kingdom.
Hey, that's a plot line. And hey, if you got if you want a villain who's a ringmaster, this is perfect. And see, that's interesting. Here, I was just thinking mirror universe crap, where it's like, everybody goes in and comes out either in short mini skirts or has goatees on when they come out of the fun house. Hey, cool, good for them. And it's like there's so many ways to have your pod people invasion arrive with the circus. And the best part is that if the party doesn't solve the problem in 3 days or 4 days, when for however long the circus is there, the problem goes away. And leaves the party confused and trying to track down where the circus went to. And it's a great way to go, hey, how much magical weird shit was actually going on? And then, as they find out, well, no, that's where the fairies, the elves, and all the other weird shit was all hiding around, and they've been masquerading in this area. You can thread so much crazy, creepy stuff. And that's if you're in a fantasy world. In the modern day, well, hey, look, here's cryptid land right here. And it travels in, and the best part of it is all the weird shit that wouldn't normally happen is passing out flyers and saying free tickets as you go to the grocery store. Here's free tickets to the weird murder fest. And everybody else, oh wow, I want to go to the free murder fest. Here's your free ticket. Here's some for your entire family. Don't worry, there's a 95% chance that you'll survive this, as you get to watch some horrible sacrifices being done in the center ring. And it's great, and everybody's cheering the whole time. It's beautiful.
And then you also have the Future Circus, which I ran once, which is, I did throw a little bit of magic because someone basically used magic to hack the robots that were running the circus.
Hey, that's
forgot
cool.
what the exact plot was for that, but either that or I never finished it. I can't remember. But that one was fun because the robot it started off super creepy. The robots would start off watching people, and when someone looked, the robot would look away.
Kind of like a Five Nights at Freddy kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Well, there's also things on sub podcast with Baron Trump. I got that reference. Okay. If you've ever been to part of the American Southwest, Roswell, you go to Roswell, it feels like a festival's going on all the time. They've taken an event that happened 70 years ago, and they've made it part of the backbone of the economy. You can do the same thing with your own campaign. You can have something happen to where they realize that without that particular event that may have happened however many years ago, this town would be a dried up ghost town. But because we had this one thing happen where nobody else has been, where nobody else has had this happen before, I mean, there's parts of Pennsylvania, I forget the 1965 UFO crash that happened in Pennsylvania, but if you first read about it and you think it was the Glocka that exploded and crashed in the forest, and then they saw Bigfoot like the next week or two. But anyway, this is like the UFO crash for the United States of America. This right here, Roswell. They took that one event, fucking McDonald's. McDonald's went whole hog on this.
Yup.
So I'm just saying that if you can do something like that for your campaign world, do it. It'll enrich it. It'll give it something to be. And long-term players will remember that for whenever things happen next time. And they should.
It also helps if you don't make every single fair, festival or circus be evil. So that way, the first 1 or 2 times they get lured in as saying, "This is a fun time. We've very much enjoyed this." So that way, when the 3rd time rolls around, they find out the entire circus is actually full of the undead.
Wait, you mean like this one here?
What?
You mean like this one here?
Yes.
Carnival of Tears?
Yeah.
Me and Baron love this module.
So the problem is that.
Go ahead.
The problem with that is that we always seem to like throw them immediately in, so that way it's like you've never encountered a festival before, but now there's one, and you go to it, and that's when the bad thing happens. Well, of course it's bad. It's the bad thing. You've obviously given thought and effort to it, so therefore they go, well, of course you detailed it. Something bad has to happen. But if you just give it some time to grow and let them realize, oh, fairs and festivals and circuses, they happen. Everyone's happy. There's entertainment. People are engaged. And like I said, that's when you pull in the festival that you just mentioned. Or when you guys said, like I was saying, the Festival of the Undead, where you're like, the Circus of the Undead, where you go in and, well, you're a little late to the show and the whole place is packed. And that's when you realize that when you hear somebody getting, eviscerated in the center of the ring, and you realize, oh, that's saying, and that's when you start realizing that the laughter sounds a little off, and then you realize, oh shit, I'm trapped. And now you got to figure out a way to get out of this without being devoured by, the undead that are all around you now. And of course, this is, things you can do for fun. I don't know. I run a few of these, but like I said, but I'm also used to a world where festivals are regular and common, and there's a lot of them. So players just kind of get to the point where they're just like, okay, it's another goddamn festival. It's blasé. The Cherry Tree Festival's going on again. Bleh. Okay, I guess I'll go. I want some cheap alcohol, and that's when you spring the ghosts and weird shit out on them. So,
I mean, I use a festival in my own campaign world called the Festival of the Hunt, and the week leading up to the Festival of the Hunt is filled with like the sideshow games, the fair food, all sorts of standard fair things. But it's well known and documented throughout multiple sessions of the game and multiple games I've run this in, that the Festival of the Hunt is focused around hunting monsters that are quasi summoned, quasi simulacrum monsters that are set loose in a town that sets up for this event. The town, or the city, I should call it a megalopolis for the time period. The megalopolis sets up for this event by protecting all the streets with proper magic, and then turning adventurers loose in the town to go hunt these quasi real monsters. And even though they might be quasi real, they are still deadly. I've had entire groups get wiped out by an appropriate challenge, at least what I thought was appropriate challenge, because their tactics didn't hold up, or they weren't expecting to be boxed in. And so, I mean, they know going into it that if they participate in the hunt itself, that it can turn deadly. But parties don't have to participate in the hunt. They can enjoy the hunt. They can watch the festivities from afar, and they can hunt down something else, potentially nefarious, that's going on in the background. The Festival of the Hunt brings in a lot of people to the City of Dragons, where the roads are 30-40 feet across, and that's just one lane of traffic for dragons. So, when that many people come into the town to experience the festival, there's bound to be something underhanded going on in the town, whether the dragons are involved or not. So, if the party doesn't want to necessarily go hunting, they can go investigating. They can go experience, the other side of the town, the parts of the town that are completely safe and protected from the monsters, but not necessarily from the Denzians.
I like that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I also like to use festivals or circus type events to bring in serial killers. Because, a string of murders happen, and then, if the PCs happen to arrive with the circus or, from the opposite direction of the circus, and bodies start dropping, are the players to blame? Are their characters to blame, rather? Are the townsfolk going to look at them thinking of them as murderers? Or does the town have a murderer that they don't know about yet? What are your PCs going to do in that situation? Are they going to try to help investigate? Are they going to try to skip town? Are they going to stay out of the way or cooperate?
Most of mine would skip town because they're.
Yep.
I know them. But that's okay. I am more than willing to run have Skyrim guards come out of the lakes to arrest them. So.
Yep. Have wanted posters up for them, wanted in connection to murders in such and such place. Yeah, I mean that is a great way to get them fleeing in any direction away from the kingdom, and maybe even moving the camera to a new area.
Badass.
Very. Do like that.
So, would you guys consider when you guys would like set up a festival? What would be the main things? I guess the goals or your victory goals as a DM that you'd want to set up whenever you're putting together the festival for the players to encounter.
Can you give me an example of what you mean?
Okay, you're setting up a town for
Mhm.
events to take place in, and to make the town more than just a name with a population number at it. One thing you want to do is like you want to focus on what aspect of the town would they want to celebrate. And so like maybe it's a town that's got 5 religions in one cathedral because the cathedral is really badass, especially if you use the Ultimate Campaign book. They've got a lot of stuff it offers. However, it's expensive as hell. So you could have 5 different religions footing the bill for it instead of one major religion, and give at least an air to where you have at least some semblance of cooperation among the clerics and the zealots. To celebrate that, you have 5 different religions, and each one of them does not want to share a holiday with another religion that's in the same building. So they're going to have like different organized holidays throughout the year. There's going to be 5 of them, maybe more if there's like some real money behind one of the 5 religions. But how would you want to do that? Because let's just go with the same discussion. With 5 religions in one cathedral, one large building, they're all kind of renting out the main chapel area for their own followers and such. And they get along well enough to where they clean up after each other. They're fairly nice to each other. They don't leave like piles of garbage. But the players would enter the town when the chaotic good faction or the chaotic good god and his religion is having a festival to celebrate its inception or its coming to prominence. Maybe they jumped the Starstone. Maybe they ascended at the Starstone or some other thing like that. And so what you're doing basically is just, I need a location, and as you're doing it, why would there be an event? Why would there be a festival going on? And before you've gone too far, in the past 7 minutes, I've discussed a town that at least is notable for a high cleric and zealot population. And there's a bunch of holidays throughout the year. If you wish to delve into that.
Well, I too like the city of Owensburg, and I mean, it's like, I could see. Thing is that I kind of like a big part of that. I know that when I write up my pantheons, they're very large, confusing, and strange, and so therefore the idea that a town having 5, 6, 7, 9 gods in the area that all cooperate, plus minor deities, sounds like something that would actually happen. And the party arrives on Weasel Stomping Day, and or where they're having the biannual mayoral raccoon race that was established 3 centuries ago, and this is how this community operates. You don't know, it's D&D, it's weird. There's things going on here, but you're walking into something strange. It's like, I know it's just easy to go, we love turkeys, we love popcorn, we love pumpkins, and therefore we fire pumpkins at Lord's Castle trying to knock the walls down because it's Morton. And I'm sorry. Some context here. In Central Illinois, we have a town that's Morton. Morton grows the nation's predominant amount of pumpkins in your pumpkin pies. It's what they do. And the town smells horrible for a month every year. But to celebrate this horrible orange thing that they grow lots of, they build giant air cannons that look like the Paris gun. And then they fire them.
I wish he was joking. He's not joking.
He's not.
They arrive on the back of semi-trucks. They are assembled, and they are a contraption. They are a monstrous nightmare of compressed air tanks and wires and gantries, so they can fire pumpkins stupid distances, and they have other nightmarish contraptions that make you go, siege engines. Man, we are creative. And if anyone goes, nobody would be creative about throwing shit long distances, has never been to a pumpkin festival. And then you will go, no, mankind will figure out how to put a large block Chevy V8 attached to a spinning wire of death to fire a 20-pound object very far that way. Or it'll explode. Either way, we're cheering. And this is the nightmare that some of us live in.
I live just outside of Morton, 6 miles away. Easy pumpkin chunking distance.
Right.
Especially for some of the trebuchets.
Yeah. I said,
yes, I mean actual trebuchet.
Yeah, mechanical gravity-fed trebuchets for this shit. Mm-hmm. So, siege weapons are for some reason Central Illinois' thing. We do it. We do it well.
Which is kind of funny because we have a lot of VFWs with the mortars outside.
Yup.
Have you noticed that?
We have a lot of mortars. We have a lot of field guns and mountain cannons. We just have a lot of artillery around this town.
Yeah.
We don't have... Laken's the only place that we have a tank on display, but we do have anti-aircraft guns and anti-tank guns and artillery everywhere. I thought weird.
I thought there was a tank in Central Illinois. I thought we had a couple Shermans there.
No, we got an M47 parked in Laken on display in front of the courthouse.
Yeah, and then there's
one or two down south.
Yeah,
there's a Route 66, the Route 66 hotel in Springfield, which has some has some military hardware out in front of it too, or used to.
I have a
There's
long history
There's
of
a
being
few
at the
towns in
various
southern Illinois that
courthouses,
have
so-
Phantoms and I think a few F-16s dotted around
Yeah.
in different parks.
Rantoul still has their jets mounted at the Section 8 housing, which used to be the base housing at
Yep.
Chanute Air Force Base, former site.
I only know where most of our courthouse stuff is because I spent a lot of time at the courthouse. So at the various courthouses in the Tri-County area. So
Somebody
I'm
I don't know who it is, but somebody in my local town has a Vietnam era one set of blades transport helicopter. And when I was going to school, I got to watch him build it in stages.
probably a Huey. But it's like, but still, going back to now, like I said, medieval, like say you have a medieval village that has a large history of overthrowing their local lord. If the local lord was some kind of in the past was some kind of evil villain, and some ancient heroes in the past had raised up an army of peasants, and they had built siege. So every year to celebrate the triumph over the Dark Lords, wizardy evil and his legions, they decide to bombard the current lord's castle with non-damaging objects. So you get this wonderful concept of ever more interesting contraptions to see how far they can throw shit into the lord's castle. Which, mind you, the lord doesn't like it, but it's the peasants are happy. And he also has, a small engineering school who lives in town. And it brings in people from all around the kingdom or the empire come in to have their dubious engineering contraptions judged for how awesome they are. And then the lord, buys the winning contraption. That would be an interesting festival to have, is, you're celebrating a bit of history and getting to see some Tinker Gnome level crazy engineering or some, what the heck is that? Well, you see, I have created 18 flywheels magically driven that would technically wouldn't individually be enough, but now is, please don't destroy my house. That's debatable. It's a water balloon. Please don't destroy my house. I'm going to try anyway. And you watch the wizard do, the wizardy school do something, try to outdo the actual military engineering school, and watch other things go weirder and have that kind of fun. That would,
Honestly,
in my mind, that would be hilarious.
Honestly, the biggest winner there is the kingdom, because they have a siege engineer in every town at that point.
Right? Like you don't think about this like when you're wandering through town until you realize every August the engineering people are starting to go fucking wild trying to build their biggest, newest contraption, and you're like, what the hell's going on? As you watch this giant werewolf machine come rolling downtown, and all the peasants are like, we built that. You what? We built that.
I imagine there'd even be actual businesses that make a living, even though it's only once a year, transporting those things.
You better believe it. Wait, what do you mean you have a Titan's mace on a string? It's not just one string, it's a lot of strings. And your little adventurers come by and go, what the hell is going on? As this monstrosity rolls by, and you're like, this is what the peasantry do for fun. Holy hell.
That sounds like fun. Stop making fun of my hobby.
I love this idea. I want to do this. I want a medieval horrifying Morton. That's what I want now. I want people to go look at this little town that looks like nothing from the road until you realize the nightmare that happens once a year.
The worst part of Morton is the smell. You hit it on the head.
Right. It's every September. It's every August and September. The stench starts, and it lasts for an entire month.
See, I don't know if it's something that's been with me before then or after then, But I just must say, I hate pumpkins. I absolutely find no redeeming value in that fucking miserable orange squash.
12 years working less than one half a mile away from that factory. You get used to it after a while.
Listen, I'm sure people out there don't like pigs, but I love pigs. Pigs are wonderful. They're great little friends, and they provide such an amazing service.
Ham, bacon, and pork chops.
And sausage. Lots and lots
Yes.
of sausage.
Glorious sausage.
But I can't get into I just cannot get into pumpkins. I lived there. I was part of the community. I was a diehard gamer, but the Morton Pumpkin Chunking Festival would come on, and I'd be like, I'm not going.
I'm not going.
I'm not going. I'd pull out my inner Carl. I'm not gonna do it.
You can't make me.
God, it was neat the first time I went.
Right.
I don't like pumpkins, and I apologize, kids. I don't
Hey.
need to repeat myself.
I'm just using that as a reference for most of us who, for some people, just go, that would be cool once.
Once is right. But I guess the takeaway is that find something that your little town would gleefully hold on to with like a lot of ferocity. Like they would reject any attempt to take away what was theirs, in their opinion. Don't you dare take away our pumpkin festival. Don't you dare take away. We have artillerists. We have union drivers coming in town. Don't you dare take away your. That's how your NPCs should be. They should be very much defending their local economy. Don't you dare make fun of that. This is a house that we abide by the pumpkin festival, and then we also go to the apple and pork festival. Don't you think? Don't you make us want to disown you?
We will.
I could see it. I could see that being someone's game. Daddy,
And
I don't want to be at pumpkin festival. I don't want to be a carny anymore.
And the thing is that I've also seen similar events, like I know I just said Morton, but I've also seen like in rural Indiana where I grew up, there was once a year the Amish market starts, and it's like you don't see them in the entire year, but suddenly out of nowhere, vast armies of Amish show up and set up stands in this field, and everybody and the entire like significant chunk of north central Indiana shows up for this market. We all wander around confusingly, breaking the axles of all of our vehicles, trying to park in the field, and we throw money at them so we can get free, so we can get weirdly handmade shit and excellent food, and then we all leave again. And then
how far away is this?
Was that
Fort Wayne?
Was that
how far away from this is Fort Wayne?
Not too far. It's about 45 minutes or so along the westbound. It happens about midway between Logansport and Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay, so mainly like when you're thinking about this logistically, if you were to do something like this in your campaign, I'm just going to speak to dungeon masters out there. You want to have you can have a big festival in a big town, but I think the smaller towns offer a lot more opportunity, and you can slice it up a lot more, and it gives you a better version of like how you want your history to be portrayed, instead of trying to slam everything into a big city. Make the small town festivals really lit, and have the guards of these various big communities be like, no, you got to go and partake in the festivals outside of town because they really get unhinged. very fast, very quickly. And
Could
so,
you imagine?
Go ahead.
I was saying, could you imagine a extremely high level, high tech level world doing a Renaissance fair?
That'd be fun.
Meanwhile, the Sword World Confederacy in Traveler goes, that's our entire culture. No, literally, if you ever play Traveler, look for the module that describes the Sword World Confederacy, and then you realize that it's literally space, an entire region of space that's run by space-age D&D LARPers with spaceships. And it's beautiful. The names are retarded, and it's freaking brilliant. It is like an encapsulated, frozen in time chunk of 1970s D&D in space. And it's weird, and it's great. So yes, and if you're playing an Imperial Citizen, and we're not currently at war today, which happens about every other week with the Sword World Confederacy, just imagine you can go, let's go visit the primitive people over there, the Confederacy. The Confederacy, oh, right, we don't like you, but we like your buddy.
Looks good, Bruce.
I'm just working on it. Crafting Gamer sent some stuff. Really like his version of Evil Lyn. Last night I got home and I was too tired. I had worked for 12 and a half hours. So I just worked on my foot and then went to bed. And that was it. That was all I had the energy for.
That's totally understandable.
I'm getting some water warmed up so I can get my paint palette ready. Soy-Based Jeremy asks if I've ever played Tribal Wars, and no, I have not, sir. I apologize. Jade, do you have any constructive criticism or ideas for also doing this for like festivals or for local circuses or on the things you've discussed so far? Do you want me to go through the starred comments here?
I mean, you can go through the starred comments. As far as festivals go, especially if you're doing it for like a small town or community, you're absolutely right. It needs to be something central to the community, something that has purpose or meaning to that community. It can't just be a random, oh, we're here because it's a festival and no other reason. It just feels forced or fake if there's no reason for the festival to exist. And the Six Nations is correct. Festival is a great way to keep the party, kind of close to one another without, necessarily splitting them up. Actually, I find that to be the opposite case. In a lot of my games, my players go every which direction during a festival. They never really stay. I mean, they're centralized in that one area. Like they're all participating in the event itself, but they go there, all their different directions. One goes to the feat of strength challenge tent. One goes to engorge themselves on the local meadery. Another might go to the fortune teller because they want to know what awfulness lies ahead for them, and as the campaign's going to unfold. All without realizing the fortune teller has no fucking clue either. So I do, in allowing them to split up and find out what piques their interests, you as the game master can actually take note of that. Like, oh, okay, what piques this character's interest? That character likes feats of strength. Okay, so they're probably going to be my frontliner. What else will entice them to want to participate or do things? And you can take notes along the way of whatever they're doing during the mini game festivals at your circus or your festival. That person's really wanting to know about their future. Okay, so maybe they're going to visit Horrors. Maybe they're going to pick up a book on tea leaf reading. I don't know. Maybe they're going to be into magic, something, along those lines. and you can entice your players later by reviewing your notes of what they participated in at the festival itself. If you're gonna have a festival or a circus in a large city, like let's set it to more modern times or even futuristic times, generally it's gonna be a dedicated space, kind of like a convention or something. And you'll have that kind of mapped out, like what the convention space is, what the if it's like Barman Bailey's three-ring circus, you've kind of got that area mapped out. So when something happens, you, the game master, know where it happened, and the players can go investigate it wherever they might be. Because I mean, ultimately, that's what a lot of players are. They're investigators. They're junior gumshoes, and they're going to be interested in what happened and why it happened. The who's, the why's, the what's. So I mean, adding a sense of mystery to the circus itself, and you don't even have to have like the circus be the focus of the campaign or anything, or even the main session. Like the circus is there, sure, and things are going on, but the real action is happening away from the circus while everyone is distracted and at the circus and at the festival having loads and loads of fun. Second story men are going into the houses and cleaning house, but they're not connected to the circus. They've just been following the circus, or they've been following like several other circuses, or even bands of roving gypsies or sideshows. And every time there, one of these things pop up somewhere, these second story people come in like, okay, yeah, let's go clean out the local lord's house, or let's clean out the local rich man's house, while everyone's distracted. It's insured. I'm not hurting anybody, and it's insured stuff. So that gives you the opportunity for your players to run across them in the act or get caught up in the whirlwind of things that are happening that are not necessarily central to the festival itself or central to the circus itself, but happening because the festival is in town, because the circus has come to town. You were saying something about like a circus of robots, robotic entertainers being cursed or hacked in some way to do something with either the villagers or the PCs to get them engaged in some kind of nefarious plot. In a far-flung future, I'm going to say, I'm going to use either Dragonstar or Starfinder for this. In a far-flung future setting where that's the case, like the circus doesn't just come to town. No. Circus has traveled from a distant star. It's got aliens. It's got different weird life forms that haven't been seen yet. From exploring vessels who visited far-off planets that haven't truly been charted yet. So you've got the freak show, so to say, of all these weird things from other places to entice and interest your players with. So when a player goes, hey, what is this thing in this jar here? You can enthrall them with whatever it happens to be and whatever planet it's from. They're like, you know what? I would really like to go to that planet and explore that. Cool. Now you've got a new destination to take them to. Even if you just made it up on the spot, take them to that planet and let them explore it. And other things that happen during like more far-flung future type circus events is like, you've got the alien invasion, you've got a rift opening up in the middle of the circus, a temporal rift or a dimensional rift, whatever the case might be, and then it becomes part of the circus, and the circus actors who are there like, that's not supposed to be part of the show, but you know what, it's drawing entertainment and it's drawing people in, so let's make it part of the show, all the while not realizing the true nature of it being potentially dangerous.
I like that one.
I mean, could you imagine like in modern times, like let's say A circus is happening at, name largest convention center near you, some kind of circus festival. And then maybe it's a technology show or something. And there all these people are showing off technology, and then something happens where a rift to the other world of, Cthulhu-esque nightmares opens up, but nobody knows what it is. But because it's a technology fair, people thought, maybe it's one of the scientists. They're experimenting with wormhole technology or some such nonsense. People are like, "Oh, that's really cool tech. How does it work?" And the poor scientist there, who's or engineer there, who's like, it shouldn't be working. It suddenly has to go, yes, this is my thing, and I invented it, and I am controlling it. Everything's under control here. Just observe it, from a safe distance.
And then
That's
the
a real
tentacles pop out and
Farnsworth.
drag everyone in.
I'm just picturing some Professor Farnsworth moment there. Ah, yes, this is mine.
Yep.
Oh God, I love it though.
I mean,
I also
there's a
think about
plethora of things you can do. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. You can also look at the idea that I know we don't really have circuses too much these days, but the summer music festivals and concerts are the modern day circus freaks and weirdos shows that also roll in town and are events.
See, I think robots, and I immediately think this.
Mm-hmm.
This was what first popped into my head.
Oh dear God.
Danger. Yeah.
Danger, 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 danger.
But you also have modern day festivals include like car shows or technology shows or gaming fairs or gaming conventions or even technically fairs or festivals with all the different like mini things and panels going on.
Yes, the anime convention.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it is effectively a festival, right? It holds up or takes up how many city blocks in Chicago every year?
Dragon Con down in Atlanta.
Or Gen Con in Indianapolis, or Origins
Yes.
Game Fair in Ohio, or PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia. Like these things tie up like city blocks, like whole like city blocks for 3-4 days at a time. And and there's a lot of things to do and see at these conventions. And in a lot of ways, they are very much like the old traditional fairs of bygone days.
I like that idea. Honestly, it's a great idea there.
What's that?
$1. I'd buy that for $1. Okay. You guys are talking about things, and I remembered Westworld was kind of like a 24/7 circus. Have you three ever seen the original movie with Yul Brynner?
Yeah.
No.
Kai, would you like to give a small description of that movie?
No, this is yours. I just know it's been a bit for me. I watched the series more, but
Well, the original Westworld is a movie that was based, I believe it was it's this old sci-fi Western movie, and Michael Crichton wrote it and directed it. Okay, and they had lifelike androids staggering all over the park, but it's an android movie in the 70s, so the androids start to malfunction. They start to go haywire. Yul Brynner's a titular android in the park, and you get a chance to shoot him. He's one of the features, and you can have a standoff against him, and you can shoot him, and he slumps over dead. Well, when he starts to malfunction and not quite function the right way, he just starts wasting people.
Yeah,
It's great.
it's a beautiful scene.
The other thing about that is that the movie also is the first time they ever pixelated digital image in a movie. So that's like its other claim to fame. But it's a good Yul Brynner film. And if you guys get a chance to watch it, it'll take about 90 minutes of your time, start to finish. And the android with the Yul Brynner scenes are fantastic. And he always comes back the next day for another duel. So the techs all around this place are just getting a little panicky. The problems are spreading. And the androids, like the Roman area, they're breaking down. They're failing. The medieval world breaking down. They're failing. And it's just completely going to shit. And so if you get a chance to watch it, you'll get to see a lot of mindset, a lot of the ways people were thinking back in the 70s. And this is like a 1973 movie. Yeah, August 17th, 1973. So it's a pretty good film to watch because it's before the big oil crap started happening. And so you get a chance to see what the real 70s were like before we were given yet another crisis. And that turned into more dystopian movies later on. But I would recommend anybody that wants to see a good Western or like the precursor to Serenity and Firefly, watch Westworld. All right.
It's also a nice standpoint on the idea of kind of like how a lot of people would think like if you look at the tail end of a glorious era where it's like where we built these wonderful things and then as always we get bored and don't maintain them nearly well enough and then they fall apart and bad like so you're going to a festival but it's gotten chintzy, it's like nobody really cares about it anymore, but we're still doing the things that we've always done, and we think about it like well, that's how it should always have been until you realize that nobody's maintaining the equipment anymore until someone gets gunned down in the street or the roller coaster malfunctions, and then you're suddenly catapulting Timmy and his family off into into the park next door.
Go ahead, keep going.
It's like it's like, oh, we're going to Disney World and they haven't made. We're going to legally, distinctly not Disney World, and they haven't been maintaining the rides or the costumes are a little worn and thin, and that's starting to look a little creepy. I don't like it here. This is starting to be that place of, I don't like where this is going. And, you're writing, not Magic Mountain, and suddenly it locks up, and now you're in a big dark cavernous area going, hello? Is anyone going to help us? As you look around and going, this is weird. This is creepy. I don't like this. And you got to think about, there's about 40 other people who are locked in this ride with you, dark. And everybody's locked in their harnesses. They're in the harnesses. And you're kind of wondering what's going on here because you're hearing sounds down there in the depths. You're not quite sure how far up you are. You don't want to find out. You can't find out. And just play around with that kind of weirdness and creepiness. And the thing is, you knew when you were going in there, because there's that one letter on the side that seems to has broken off four of its 5 bolts, and it's kind of fallen into the other letter. And you're going, you know what? It's discount day. I think we can afford this. and you go in. And you buy, you gave the perception check of saying, hey, everyone, roll a perception check. Well, you're in a safe place. The party for once didn't cheat, their rolls, and you didn't get a certain archer who manages to roll a 2042 on a DC 30 check. Because he always rolls high. You know he always rolls high. Why does he always roll high? He just does. But today he didn't cheat. He failed to roll, and nobody noticed the sign that says by entering this park you're legally giving up your right to sue the owner. And you're like, I don't give a shit about that. I ain't reading no sign. And then you walk past. And that's when all the shit starts happening. Whoopsies. You know, and you know, because it's a fair. You're like, I don't give a shit. Of course the rides are all chintzy. They were brought here by wagon, by that guy who has all 5 of his teeth still. It's safe, and it's like that's kind of what you're looking at, but and that's when you know you're like this is just. You know what? I don't care. I want that $1 hot dog. I want to pay 3 tickets to go on the roller coaster. I don't care if I saw Billy go flying. I want to ride that one.
And then you got the weirdos that would be like, I want to ride it because I seen Billy go flying on it.
I want to see if I can go further. Put the fat guy in front. We get more energy that way. What?
Am I terrible because I watch like dash cam fail videos all the time. Granted, my job has me watching those for like doing the safety briefs and all that, but I get a real kick out of seeing people on their phones trying to drive at the same time, and their phone's more important, so they just wreck the car or they catch a truck and get pitted or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
You mean a standard day of driving here in Peoria?
yeah.
Or at least so it seems.
And the thing is, I know people will do something stupid like that because we went to a water park that has one of those like raging rapid water rides. So all of us fat people got on one side of the boat rather than balancing it out. So that way we could nose our side like almost underwater, and then pop a tidal wave over us, and then splash the scrawny bitches on the other side of the boat. And they're like, "Why are all the fat people running over to this side of the boat?" And when we're going in, I'm looking over my shoulder, going, "We're nosing in." Boosh! And just watching the wave of water crest over us, and then smack all the scrawny fuckers on the other side of the face. It was beautiful. So, the idea that a bunch of people go, we know we're rigging this ride. Yeah, we want to see how far we could go. Sounds about right.
Traffic laws are also for chumps who want to live.
I don't want to live. I want to end it quick.
I can't tell you how many people just run red lights around town and stop signs anymore. Like they're just a suggestion at this point.
Wait, what are those? What are those devices? What do they do?
Right. Lights up red, and then people don't understand what it means, and then get absolutely freaking wrecked by a truck going the other direction.
Red stop, green go, yellow go very fast.
Red means pray and dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peoria and Houston are actually the same town, just separated by miles and miles of corn. Although that would help out Peoria because there are Checkers fast food restaurants within the city of Houston.
I wouldn't buy a little more variety.
I wish you guys had Whataburger.
I would too. But then again, I also want a White Castle in our town, damn it.
Wait, they have a White Castle in Peoria now?
No, I want one though.
Oh, I was going to be like,
I hate driving to Aurora for White Castle.
I mean, you could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You go to Aurora, you see Wayne and Garth.
Right.
So we had some kids not get that joke, I'm sure. I just think festivals.
Ask your dad.
I think festivals and carnivals are just fucking great to have in a campaign, though. I think it's a great way to impart it's forced history lessons. Because players go into town and they're like, "What the fuck is this running of the bulls?" And like, you just kind of chuckle to yourself. Oh, about so many years ago, we had this event happen, and now we just run these bulls. Is that wrong? It's something you can do at your table, and I recommend it. I recommend festivals or circuits. Circuses are good too, because circuses are like, you can get all the fun out of a festival, but you can double the money that the town receives with a circus. For those of you that don't recognize this, there are many ways you can do this, but a circus allows you to bring in all the like the Westworld event that happened earlier. Here's an event for you that just popped into my head. You go to town, there's a circus. At the circus, they have a handful, maybe 7 different excessive extreme beasts that normally would be in the wilderness or in a dungeon, and they're very deadly. Like, you have a displacer beast, there's an owl bear, all the monsters from Monsters Manual that should never be allowed to live longer than 4 combat rounds in combat are there at the circus. And therefore, if you so choose, you could have gremlins get in the circus and redo the restraints so the restraints don't work and thus the monsters are loose. And the Fae can take bets on how many of the humans they kill. And you can have the players involved with it, because the players are there trying to earn their skins, trying to make sure they stay alive, and maybe they'll be having a few hero moments themselves. It's a thought. Completely agree with this. However, the sweet and spicy bacon burger is improved when you add a fried chicken patty to the double beef, double cheese, 6 strips of bacon. Add that with a slice of another slice of cheese to this sandwich, and then make it all the way with the lettuce, tomato, the mustard, and the onions and pickles. Oh my God. Hell, for funsies, throw some sliced jalapenos on it.
Where I'm from, that's called the heart attack.
I want it.
It's delicious.
No, I didn't say it wasn't delicious. I'm just saying. Like, one of our local, like, to the area, I believe this is the only one that exists. It's called Dubs. They literally have something called the heart attack. Or at least they used to.
So,
Call that a deep fried cheeseburger.
say again?
The heart attack, a deep fried cheeseburger.
Oh, that actually sounds really good. I should not be thinking that way. I'm thinking that way. Well, what do you guys think about the idea of a circus coming to town? Because it could do some interesting stuff. It could impart some interesting events at the very least. Or it could provide NPCs aplenty for the party to bump into.
Yeah, there's that too.
It's also a point in which players can swap out gear. Because a lot of times fairs and circuses and festivals, especially of a traveling company, would bring in stuff that they traded for in other towns or places. So you get some interesting trade goods from just about anywhere in the world, from a fair or circus that's traveling.
Ooh, that's true.
Hmm?
I had someone. Okay, when Left 4 Dead Dead came out, there was a great joke from one of my friends who's never been to a fair in his entire life. He goes, Why are there booths that just have katanas laying on them?" I go, "Have you ever been to one?" He's like, no. It's like they sell. Yes, in our world, there's shit weirdo, knockoff,
The rat
mall
tails.
ninja crap. But can you imagine a more fantasy world or a world where it's legal to carry real weapon grade shit, and that stuff might actually be there. And for years, I kept trying to get him to go to the Heart of Illinois Fair. And he's like, no, they don't sell katanas. And I'm like, they do. No, they don't. They do. So we had a friendly bet. And then one year, I managed to find him that he was off work, the fair was in town, and I was off work. And I'm like, get your ass up. We are going to the fair. And he goes, why? To prove that there are katanas. He goes, it's been 6 years. Are you still on this? He goes, because you don't believe me, I'm proving it right now, right here. I will pay your entrance fee. And we went, and then there he was, the mall ninja booth. And there they were, glorious knives and katanas. And I'm like, there it is, man. Told you. He goes, damn it. I go, pay up. And he's like, all right. And I'm like, good. I needed that money to pay for the ticket I just spent on you. And he just kind of laughed and went, well, shit.
In the forest when he saw.
But it was beautiful that he got to see that, yes, mall ninja shit at the fair. And I was just happy. And I'm trying to imagine what that would be like in a D&D world where suddenly you find that weird guy in the stall. Of course, you get a guy who's just selling vendor trash, the crap, oh, hey, look, it's the average mundane quality. Really? We're higher level, GM. Do we really need to have somebody who's just selling?
Or, well, what about the fair goer or the carny who is selling randomly enchanted weapons? The carny does not know what the enchantments are on them. Does not know a single thing about them. Just knows that they are magically enhanced in some capacity.
Yep. And they're laid out there on the booth next to all the badges and weird patches and other weird folder knives that are just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's this one? I don't know. This is like 125 gold. It's glowing. 150.
Yep.
He doesn't care. He paid off a dead body 4 weeks ago, but he's pawning it off on you now.
Well, I was about to say, and the backstory is one that I think I might have to run at some point. The carnival travels from place to place. Everybody knows things disappear when the carnival shows up, but people tolerate it because everything gets sold. Everything that gets taken gets sold at the carnival, so you never know what you're going to find.
I mean, like, yeah.
What is that? A carnival of Kinder?
See earlier comment of the Ravnos have arrived in town.
Yeah. I mean,
hey, look, your gypsy vampire Ravnos have arrived. Why? I don't know. The dump truck full of loot.
but I mean that's definitely something that a lot of festivals tend to bring with them is the tradesmen, the people who have the weird eclectic things that aren't from the area, and they're trying to pawn them off because they are weird and eclectic. There are going to be individuals out there who are eccentric enough to want to go, yes, I want a flail sword or a chain dagger or something. I want or was it a mace nunchuck or something? I don't know. Whatever the case might be. But there's going to be that one individual who goes, oh yeah, that's a really cool thing, and you know what? I am going to pay a lot of money for it because it's the only time I'm ever going to find it.
That's right. I want that case that also has a compass and a lighter in it. I want it. It's mine.
Well,
and you're absolutely right, Kai. The carny who just bought dragged it or picked it off of a corpse along the road and selling is like, I don't know what it does. I'll sell it to you for 150. But it's glowing. Okay, make it 2,000.
The sword's like, just take. Don't say anything. Just pay the money. I'll explain to you later.
We summoned a jackalope.
Like,
Or
wait,
find a
intelligent?
vendor who's selling. I was gonna say, find a vendor who's selling like random scrolls that he found, and when you cast the read magic on the scroll, it's a scroll of read magic.
Lucky for you, the Carney can't read, so he doesn't know what he got.
We had
Exactly.
a barbarian in our group that was a second edition, trying to be a first edition barbarian, AD&D, not Pathfinder, and he believed that like certain things were magical, and then like shortly after he would say that, he'd go wog on it, and they found a doorknob mounted to the wall in a dungeon, and I had my players perplexed for like 5 or 6 minutes fucking with this doorknob that was mounted on the wall. There's no door, it doesn't lead to anything, it's not a secret passage, it's just a magical door that you would, if you put any energy into actually trying to open it, it would leech your own energy and it would glow, so it would be like a magical glowing door. And that made Butt Munchus, the barbarian, absolutely go haywire fucking nuts. And he destroyed like a 5 foot by 5 foot by 5 foot section of dungeon trying to destroy that doorknob. And he got actually past the stonework into the dirt because he had a dwarven pick at the time. Just stupid things like that. I've got a whole nother portion of ideas I want to go, but I also want to have Connell and maybe Baron kick in on this conversation too. I don't want to suck up all the oxygen on it tonight. What do you guys say? What do you have any? Do you have any further things to add for this evening? I'm not trying to cut off our discussion on it because we can talk about this or other things, but Connell, I want to hear him discuss festivals. I think he could actually carry an entire conversation for 2 hours. He could Kai it out per se, and seeing him interact would be good. We haven't had a lot of Connell exposure lately.
Everyone has their reasons.
We could definitely put a pin in it for now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crafting, you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else we want to bring to the table before, or do we want to cut it?
When you decide to do a festival, never be afraid to look at how. Never be afraid to make it just BS, and never be afraid to make it a truly horror either. Because occasionally the players need their characters just to have fun. At least that's been in my experience.
I really can't disagree with that.
It's always fun.
Say again.
It's always fun.
Percent of Americans call the
So, I guess who's running the next live event is my first question.
It's supposed to be Baron, but let's say life kind of is hitting all in this right now. So
Yeah. Because I may be switching jobs, and that may rob me of this time frame through here, but I may be able to pick it up sometime, maybe during the weekend. If I get the new job, it's going to take over my Monday through Friday. That's all there is to it.
right.
12 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's I can't get around that. That's like Jade. Jade, wouldn't you do something aside from gatekeepers? Yeah, I'd love to, but I don't have that time.
Yeah, that is me currently.
Oh, yeah.
Not trying to short you guys on fun. Trying to trying to set up a secondary command, a southern command for the table breakers. All right, guys, if things go down, we have a spot in San Antonio. Like I said before the show started, we've been looking at houses. We found a real nice house. Like, everything about it, all the other houses feel really soulless. Like they've taken out all the energy and all the good things left when they took the furniture away. But this one house had like all the furniture still intact, and you could tell there was an old lady that lived there. One, it smells like old lady smell, like whenever you feed an old lady like anti-cancer drugs or other things like that, and like she ends up pooping herself quite a bit. That's kind of what the house smells like. Like it's got a lot of pine sol and other cleaning agents that are trying to mask the fact that this lady was at the very end. That's cool. That's fine. I don't mind that. If she's a ghost, she's probably going to stick around for a bit and make sure we treat the house right, which is awesome. We both really like the house, but then I was like, I gotta have chickens here because the backyard is perfect for chickens. It's enough space to move around, but not so much space to where the falcon can see it through the trees. Very wide, but yet shallow backyard to the next yard. And it'd be perfect to have a coop and occasionally let the hens go free. And then if they're not eating well, just go to the bait store and buy like 50 freaking crickets or cockroaches from the Chinese restaurant. Whatever you get, like just spill in the yard and watch your chickens go nuts. They love shit like that. But they said to us today that like there's poultry exemptions here. You can't have poultry. I guess I'm not going to be moving in there. Sorry, guys. It's a deal breaker.
Makes sense.
Aside from that, I mean, the house is great. Feels like a home. It actually feels like a home, but they haven't moved out anything. New flower bed, roughly the shape of Granny. I shouldn't laugh at that so much. Yeah, if we can get Connell in for next week on this topic, that'd be great. If Connell's not available, do you guys have a secondary topic you want to discuss?
Yeah, I got nothing. Sorry.
It's all right.
Been a little brain dead lately.
Dude, you're doing 60 hours a week. The fact you're here making an effort, thank you. The idea I have for a discussion point is kind of like going further on this town history, because this festivals really help out with that. But I really like the idea of like doing town construction or like some sort of hub construction. Like, you know, you have a place where your player characters can go and hang out and like just kind of they're not impervious from harm, but it is a place where there's a reasonable expectation of safety. And I think that'd be the other thing I'd want to talk about, because we haven't talked about that yet.
Sounds like a good
Yeah.
topic.
I mean, we really haven't. And I mean, I'll even go further. Like, you can use any size town or settlement for your hub for your player characters, but I would suggest just not having it be riddled with NPCs. Don't make it a town like Ream or Bard's Gate or Waterdeep. Make it a small town like Tremont or something manageable. Maybe Caramel, Indiana at the largest. I wouldn't want to see you try to manipulate that many NPCs all at once. You may go nuts.
Insanity is fun.
Insanity's fun. It's very fun. Watching your DM act like the robot Ash in the movie Alien because he's going spastic and can't remember a character's name and he's losing his temper he bashes your wife against a refrigerator, that's probably scary. Listen, they're not expected to live that long. I'm giving each chicken 3 years.
Vulcans are elves. I'll go with that.
I will definitely go with that. Klingons are orcs.
But actually fun.
Space orcs. Okay.
Well, that makes Ferengi space goblins.
Well, yes, they are. But only if we go with depends. Actually, no, they're still goblins then. So you have the crappy, shitty goblins, aka TNG goblins, Ferengi, and then you have the civilized, interesting goblins, DS9. I much prefer the DS9 goblins over TNG goblins. Thank you.
Same here.
I was a very big fan of. I was a big fan of the Ferengi when I first saw them, but then I realized Sean liked the Ferengi, and he would pull out Ferengi rules of acquisition each and every time there was a purchase made at the game room. So after a while, you just kind of get tired of that.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right. So without further ado, we are going to dial it down for the night and bid you adieu. YouTube is having some weird shit happen to it right now, and I can't tell you as to what's going on with YouTube. I'm not able to pull up any clips on YouTube right now. However, there are plenty of other things to do, and I would suggest if you have the chance, go register at tubi.com. It's a nice little streaming service. They do stuff for free. And we just started watching Babylon 5. If you're not familiar
with the hard season.
What?
You're still in the hard to get through season.
There you go, kids. Watch some Babylon 5. Enjoy yourself. It's a great show. Kai says that the first season's rough. So, base Jeremy, I can't get YouTube going, and I haven't explored enough of Rumble for their cryptid content. I'd like to, but I haven't explored it enough. Might do that. Also, might do some other things as well because running short on time. But I wanted to have tonight's discussion discuss festivals. We had some circus talk, which circuses are a lot of fun. You have a lot more NPC options with circuses that are with the organization. So I recommend either of these be put into your game and come back next week. We were discussing possibly either a sequel to tonight's discussion, Circuses and Festivals Volume 2, or we'll be discussing how to construct your hub for your table. And hopefully, until then, you do not break your table. My name is Bruce. Thank you to the Crafting Gamer, Jade's Tabletop Tavern, and Chimerian for being with us tonight. Thank you to the chat. And hopefully, if you made it this far in the chat, in the discussion, before I shut things off, I do want to give out one quick blurb, one little ad read, because I had a very good incident happen this week with Blackout Coffee. At Blackout Coffee, they've been really doing some good stuff. They're getting a lot of big timers to advert for them, which that's nice. They don't have to, but they're doing well, and they have a lot of great things. If you're still in the mood for tea or cocoa, they have plenty of things. There's the cocoa sips right there. Here's the teas right here. Their tea is amazing. I've had that. Their cocoa is damn delicious. Kai, didn't you buy a whole truckload of that.
Yeah, I did. I'm out now. I need more.
Yeah, their
Which is
prices went
great.
up, but yeah, this is really good stuff. I recommend it. They've got flavored coffee. If you like flavored coffee, I recommend the blueberry crumble. It actually tastes like a blueberry crumbles in your coffee. It's weird.
I recommend salted caramel and English toffee.
Okay. Fantastic. These guys that had an incident happen, and I told them, I'm like, don't give me anything for free. They're like, well, we're not. I'm like, okay, good. But they responded quickly, and they got me my product because we have porch pirates now, as many people in America. The mocha mint is good. Says Flady on. Hey, Flady, how you doing tonight, sir? If you're looking for this, this is one of the better coffees that are available. One of the better coffee names out there. And I recommend anybody that hasn't tried it yet, go for it. Use my name in the checkout, 10% off. That'll take care of your taxes. And they do a good job for the rest of America. They do promote free speech. They do promote you being armed and able to defend yourself and being able to protect your family. Good things like that. Blackoutcoffee.com. Code in chat. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody.